Is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to Coleman Report Live, March 24th. We have special guest Brett Keynes from Lumos. We met down in San Diego last week. We met up again, actually. We've met before, but he is going to give us a great presentation on what the new data products SBA lenders are using out there, and how effective that can be for your bank and your lending department. Also, we have Lance. Lance, welcome, and Delaney will include some great stories about Fraud Friday. But let's turn to Brett. Brett, you're the co-founder and CEO of Lumos, and we interviewed you. By the way, all of these interviews from America West are up on YouTube. Go check them out. We talked to a lot of interesting people, and we had a good time down there. But Brett, I wanted to bring you in and introduce. Tell us what you do for the SBA lenders and how your data can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Joseph, and thank you for inviting me on today. I'll start by saying that we are very passionate at Lumos about helping small businesses obtain financing. Everyone at Lumos comes from a banking background, and specifically banking with a small business focus. We have all seen the power of small businesses on local and regional economies, and I'm certain the listeners today have seen it as well. A vibrant small business community can really set a city apart, which benefits the people that live there and then ultimately benefits the banks that operate there. So we see this reciprocal benefit of banks fostering and promoting small businesses. Small businesses then promote the community, and a strong community promotes a strong bank. So it really is this intertwined and compounding effect that creates that benefit. A couple of stats on the slide that's being shared right now. There's 33 million small businesses out there right now. 6.2 million of these have between 2 and 500 employees. And of the 6.2 million, a little over 1/3 are seeking some form of capital every year. So there's this very large market opportunity there, and Lumos can help banks identify and understand these opportunities, part of the markets and part of the risk. So we can jump off to the next slide.
Just let me interrupt. I know you get the data, but you have your own. It's separate from what is public, right? Just let people know where you got it from.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so our data set is built from SBA data. It's 3 million. 2 million small business loans. Actually, right here on the side is 2 million small business loans. It's covering 30 years. 3 economic cycles are in there. So it's all SBA data from public requests, and then we do several private requests as well. And we overlay that onto data from other sources, FRED, which is the Federal Reserve Economic Data Bureau of Labor and Statistics, really to try to get a robust data set and view of how the broader economy impacts small businesses and just how those have performed over time.
Excellent. Go ahead with this one.
Yeah. So our goal really is to offer data and analytics to help banks make better strategic decisions around small business lending. It's often a lack of data that prevents banks from stepping into new or different territory. And I don't exclusively mean territory as geography, the territory of an industry, franchise, a loan product, etc. And just as an example, if a bank has made 3 loans of a specific type, they're going to use the experience of those 3 to make a decision about the 4th one. And that simply just is not enough information. My former CEO, Chip Mahan, he would remind me very often that one data point does not make a trend. And to expand that, just a little bit, a limited set of data points don't necessarily make a reliable trend. So with that in mind, we deliver data and analytics to banks in a very user-friendly manner, so the bank can make decisions from a much more robust, complete data set. And on that data set, I mentioned from the public-private requests from SBA, that data set of 2 million loans also includes, there's 400,000 defaults in there, 300,000 charge-offs, and we use that to calculate probability of default, loss given default, expected loss. And we've done this with a best-in-class machine learning platform, Data Robot, that we've partnered with. So we can head on to the next slide. So here we talk about how to get the data actually into the hands of bankers. Small business loan performance analytics are delivered to banks via our online portal. It's easy to use, easy to filter by various categories, and generally very intuitive. Loan performance is broken down over time and by the 4 major credit indicators of probability of default, loss given default, expected loss, and prepayment rates. You can see these indicators over time by lender, by industry, by franchise, state, county, loan products, loan terms, loan sizes, etc. And beyond credit, there's also tools for business development, videos, chief sales officers, chief revenue officers all can find origination detail on loan structures, on loan terms and pricing, and generally build strategies around where markets are not being served or where markets are not being served well, or simply how to continue to compete in a very competitive market. We can jump on to the next one.
Well, let me interject. Our friend down in San Diego at a bigger bank just couldn't tell us how useful this is enough. In fact, I asked him if he worked for you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm saying that you have the testimonials already. So.
That's great. You have to let me know who it is, and I'll send them a gift card. Thank you for that. So at this point, I'm sure folks listening are probably thinking, hey, all this sounds great. Or I hope you think it sounds great. Hey, all this sounds great. But can you give me some specific examples? So that's what we try to do here. In this case, a bank is considering franchise lending or is already into franchise lending, but is looking for ways to improve how they assess franchises. With our dashboards, a lender can compare credit metrics, prepayment trends, and historical volumes to determine the best opportunities. The example shown on the left, it compares Jimmy John's to Dickey's Barbecue Pit. There's been more than 800 SBA loans to Jimmy John's franchises, and the expected loss there is 0.77%. This is compared to Dickey's Barbecue with just over 300 loans and an expected loss of 5.85%. So very quickly, just seconds literally, you can see the risk characteristics of each of those and make a faster, more efficient decision. And then on the right, a bank has identified a market.
Brett,
hey,
Brett, I'm sorry, this is Bob. I'm in. Hey, I'm going to cut you off there. We got a bunch of other stuff also. So
Yeah.
I'm going to have you come back and finish up the presentation. But I want to get to Fraud Friday and hear what Delaney has to say. Go ahead, Delaney.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
Thanks, Brett. Good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. So actually before the show, I was telling them after listening to the TD Bank receive his sentence last week, the manager, I was actually sitting and curious about this case, and lo and behold, this morning I caught a press release. So Rafael Martinez from MBE Capital Partners finally pled guilty to a number of different fraudulent activity. So he first applied for a PPP loan, about $300,000 using false representations, fake documents, He managed to obtain it, which the DOJ clarified. Those proceeds were not used for payroll or business expenses. And then 5 days later, after applying for the PPP loan, he also applied to be a PPP non-bank lender using the same doctored information and documents, which he managed to do. He did disperse, I think, about $1 billion, maybe around 800 million worth of PPP
I'm sorry, I
loans.
thought you said $1 billion.
I believe it was about $1 billion. Yes, somewhere in that quite higher up range. He ended up obtaining 71.3 million in lender fees. And Bob, of course, I got to give you your favorite part. He got quite a few luxury items, including a villa in the Dominican Republic, many different cars, including a 2018 Porsche, a 2017 Ferrari, a 2017 Bentley, a BMW, and a 1962 Mercedes-Benz. He also got a mansion and a chartered jet service.
Ooh, nice, nice. How many loans did that work out to be, Delaney? How many fraudulent loans are there?
I believe it was 33,600. That's how many he managed to disperse as a non-bank lender.
Yeah, so he was a lender, Lance. He funded $1 billion. We don't know how many loans, but he got $71 million in lender fees. I assume the feds have gone after that, Lance.
Oh yeah, this guy, everything he owns is going to be seized. All bank accounts will be seized. These beautiful cars, the villa in the Dominican will all be seized. This guy took the PPP fraud to a brand new level.
Yeah.
I mean, he got a fraudulent PPP loan, then he's like, I'll just become a lender.
Just become
generate lender fees. And
this is the only story of its kind. That's
yeah,
for sure.
I don't know how he ever got approved. MBA
Well, unfortunately, this is the guy who's causing all sorts of problems for other lenders. The Senate named the other 8 lenders that they're going after, and SBA promised that they would go after that. Delaney, you reported, I believe, yesterday or today, Senator Ernst, the minority, she's on the Senate committee, correct?
Yes, she's a ranking member of the Senate Small Business Committee.
And what does she want to do? What was her legislation?
Yeah, so yesterday they had a hearing, and throughout the hearing, first of all, they mentioned that loans under 100,000 fraudulent loans would not be pursued. She expressed that she was concerned that they were not going after these loans. And additionally, there were some criticisms for the 2 proposed rules involving affiliation standards, the small business lending company moratorium. They clarified that that was not supported by they never discussed it with the committee or any other congressional group.
What concerns me about this reporting, Delaney, which by the way, very good, is she's saying, hey, the primary focus of SBA should be a fraud investigator and not a Main Street access to capital lender, Lance.
Yeah, the discussion of whether to pursue fraud under 100, Delaney and I have talked about this at length in a car ride yesterday afternoon. The pursuing things under 100.
Good for you, Dad.
Pursuing PPP loans under 100, it makes sense financially to pursue PPP loans of 100K. But the question becomes, does it make sense to pursue loans of like $5,000 or $10,000? I do agree anyone who committed fraud should be pursued and prosecuted. But the question becomes, are we going to be fiscally responsible as we pursue this? I mean, if you get somebody that gets a small PPP loan, use fake identification, falsified business documents, it's highly unlikely the address information, it's going to be a real job to go after the smaller stuff. So,
well, and that's, yeah.
I agree completely with it. from a conceptual standpoint, anyone who committed fraud in the PPP loan program should be pursued. But the business side of me says, are you going to spend $50,000 chasing after 10?
Well, yeah, absolutely. And that's not the goal of SBA. The goal of SBA, they're not fraud investigators. I mean, they have
No,
this
no.
general, they got a couple people, but that's what you have organizations called the DOJ,
Oh, yeah.
FBI. That's what they do. The primary focus of SBA is getting capital out there. And the fraudsters, there are other people to do that. That's maybe I'm quibbling over the term, Delaney. What's your take on that?
Oh goodness. I feel pretty similarly to my father, which we discussed. I do think all these bad actors should be prosecuted in an ideal world, absolutely.
Well, of course. Yeah.
But the expenses, that'll be interesting to see play out. I will be looking to hear more.
Do we know
Well,
what?
and the thing is,
Go ahead, Lance.
the thing is, guys, on a smaller PPP loan where they committed fraud and didn't pay their payments in a timely manner, that's going to get submitted as a guarantee purchase by a lender typically, and then it will get charged off and referred to Treasury. And that collection mechanism for SBA on defaulted SBA loans has always been a Treasury referral. And the Treasury referrals, they follow you. I mean, if you file, I can never remember when, or I always remember when I was deputy director at SBA, I handled customer issues at different times. And I had one customer that would call me and say, I can't file my taxes. And I'm like, well, why is that? Well, every time I try to file my taxes, it says the Treasury Department is going to keep my tax refund. And it was all as a result of a charged off SBA loan that had been referred to Treasury. Same thing, if you have a Treasury referral and you go to Vegas and you roll the dice and you win some money, guess who gets that money? Treasury.
Well, I'm all for that, obviously.
Yeah, so there is a collection mechanism.
And that's what they do, and they do that very well. That's their job.
Yeah, once SBA processes it and charges it off and makes a referral to Treasury, there's a very strong collection mechanism.
Delaney, when is our fraudster ready to be sentenced, and did they report indicate what type of sentence he will receive?
They did not clarify when they are planning to have a hearing regarding sentencing, nor did they give any hint as to what the sentence might look like. But based on last week, this executive that helped orchestrate about $31 million in fraud, he got 10 years. So it's hard to speculate, but I imagine it'll be
he's
good sentence.
He's looking at Nick Patel type of time, which is 25 years.
Yeah, Raphael has taken the PPP fraud to a brand new.
Yeah, and that's causing pain for all of us. Real quick, Delaney, do you have another story for us you can squeeze in?
Yes, I'll try to run through this pretty quickly. This was an interesting story. Let me go ahead and preface, this is all alleged. They have not currently proved it technically. But this company, CoinDog, Mr. Charles Constant, he applied for PPP loans using fake identities, businesses that did not exist. He got this money and then he purchased cryptocurrency ATMs after dispersing the proceeds to other people and using cryptocurrency transactions. I'm not very familiar with the world of cryptocurrency, but they're alleging that this ended up being a major money laundering scheme. I believe they're trying to take all of these ATMs now.
How much does a cryptocurrency cost? And Lance, what can you liquidate it for?
Oh, you're talking. Bob, you're just trying to rub salt into a wound.
Yes.
You know, as everyone may know, I took a little venture into cryptocurrency and I got slapped around, kicked. Somebody drove a
your
car.
losses were in 3 figures, so we're not going to cry too much.
But it's I have not heard of somebody buying a cryptocurrency ATM. That's a new one.
We'll see what they offer on eBay. Hey, very good, Delaney. This was a great webinar that John Winnick put on for us. Joseph, how can they access it? Are we going to send them the link?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's already on YouTube.
Oh,
and
that's
we'll-
right. We are now on YouTube. In fact, Brett, you're I don't know if you've been on YouTube before, but this is being streamed live on YouTube. So
Fantastic.
did we get the waiver on Brett, Joseph? I don't know. Hey, anyway. Well, sorry for all the gremlins and the glitches. Sorry I showed up late, but Joseph and Lance and Brett and Delaney covered well for me. Everyone, Brett, thank you so much for your presentation. Please, I look forward to working with you, and we will get more information to you. Delaney, good reporting. Lance, good stuff. Lance, we're going to see you in 2 weeks in Texas.
And at Mid-America Lenders Conference, the granddaddy of all the SBA lending conferences. Can't
I
wait to
think
be.
I saw some stuff going through. We were supposed to have Jennifer on today. If you want to register, you better do it today. I know hotels are getting sold out, and they're going to charge you the whopping price of $599. So take advantage of that. Hey, everyone, thank you for joining us today for